about XYZ. We need to control the objectives better. We need to be able to get those picks when Optimus Gang are out of bounds, and we have to make sure that we don't let ourselves get picked. There were too many instances where Obey Alliance were just in the wrong spot or not in the right spot, which sounds like two of the same thing, but when you're not near the objective and it gets leashed on accident, that's just bad news bears.
And fortunately for Delta Marine, who ended up probably being one of the most picked guys as far as Obey Alliance was concerned, I think one of the primary reasons why Optimus Gang was able to draw that one out for as long as they did. But fortunately for him, he did have the worst on that Cabrakan, and you're clapping already, and so am I. Susano, finally, thank you, EU. Don't give it to NA. Yeah,
thank you, guys. I mean, Susano finally banned here in the what could be the very last game of the day. Very important ban right there.
I can't help but wish that, because I understand, sure, you might play against something in scrims and it might not be working for your opposition and you can combat it and everything like that, but when you know that a region is so preferable to a certain god pick, you might as well eliminate that comfort aspect and just make sure that you put yourself in as much of an advantage as you can.
Well, when it comes down to it, scrims, especially scrims against the opposition that you're going to see at LAN, right? When you're scrimming during the regular season, I think there's something to be said, but still along the same avenue. But here at LAN, when you're playing against the people that are in your same, you're playing in third gear. You got another 1 or 2 gears to go ahead and toss it forward. So yeah, Optimus Gang, rival, they might have said, look, we played against Susano in scrims. It's not that big a deal. Yeah, you played it in like 2-wheel Sunday drive mode. What happens when we hit the track? I put it in sport and just pedal to the metal. That's what we saw at Mifflin. That's what Optimus Gang finally saw. And they get scared and they ban it away.
And I also really like how Optimus Gang took away another favorable pick on the side of NA, taking the Cabrakan for themselves and not permitting Dewars to run town with it again was absolutely beautiful, because he was ahead of the lead as far as setting up the team fights were concerned. And the Sylvanas and the Zeus picks as well, I really like how Obey's trying to combat that early aggression that Optimus could potentially provide for themselves.
At the same time, Taco, I like that Optimus Gang are going to run back the Nemesis Thoth combination. Not necessarily the combination, but the fact that they were confident in those 2 picks. Listen, Optimus Gang did not completely soil themselves like we had set the table for, and I will formally apologize to the audience for being stronger or harder on Optimus Gang than I should have. They put on a decent performance, and Obey ultimately got the better of them, but some things went right. Nemesis and Thoth, I think those 2 were picks that worked out fine. We just need to see a little bit more execution on the side of Optimus Gang.
And the execution, I think, will be a little bit difficult for them to find, especially. I like the Nemesis pick. They might have been expecting this double Guardian composition. We've already seen it earlier today, actually, from Astral Authority, who were leaning more towards that frontline setup. And that is so important. When you have a Zeus, you need to protect that Zeus as much as possible. And the worst, on that signature Shing-10, what are your feelings on this?
I mean, my feelings, this is Dwarf's God, baby. I mean, I think the first time I said the washing machine was watching Dwarst play with his mid laner at the time playing a Poseidon. I think this character is what Dwarst does. But that's Zeus Delta Marine on Z-Man Senior. This is scary. This is a big deal. Obey Alliance's mid laner, we've seen him play the Isis last time. That's a control character. When you give Delta Marine Zeus, bad things happen to good people. And that's what we're going to see.
And with the addition of Hu Yi to the Obey Alliance draft, only thing that's coming to mind right now is circles. You can never go wrong just stacking circle and AoE ultimates on top of each other, especially when it's a Zeus, a Hu Yi, Shing-10 with the washing machine.
Sylvanas.
They're going to be dead so quickly if Optimus Gang aren't careful.
Absolutely. Shout outs to the man down under, Yuzi himself. Obey Alliance, they have an extremely strong team fight composition. Whereas if you look across the way, Optimus Gang with Nemesis, Thoth, and Cabrakan, they're looking to play isolation. Xing Weezy come out, wow.
That is probably one of the spiciest picks I could expect for console to be bringing here today, especially from Optimus Gang. That is a risky business kind of pick, but I guess sometimes you just need to risk it for the biscuit.
Sometimes you want to slide on in there. Wheeler's last selection for Obey Alliance. Sorry, I'm taking your job. But my point being, Nemesis, Thoth, Cabrakan, this is an isolation team. They notice that excuse me, Delta Marine, the mid laner, likes to kind of stand out by himself. They picked him a couple of times on the Isis. Now, on the Zeus, I think your mental game's a little bit different, knowing that you have less tools. But with that in mind, Optimus gang, you're looking to take one person, stun him and separate him from the team, pick him off, and then have a 5-on-4 situation from that point on.
Well, if Optimus gang can find the picks, then they might be able to pick up this game number 2. But to find out more about that, we've got Tolly and Aggro to take it away.
Thank you very much, Tom and Taco. Here we go. This is Obey's chance to move on to the semifinals. Optimus gang, they've got to win here in order to keep their spring split hopes alive. And they turn back to one of Welsh Beast's oldest gods. This is a god that he came in and was dominating everyone on. But at that time, Jing Wei was dominating everyone all the time. But now Jing Wei is not. Is it worth a comfort pick whenever a god has been not played for so long?
Whenever you lose your game 1 in a best-of-3 set, you definitely have to mix things up in game number 2. And I like the fact they banned the Susanoo, but in order to last pick Jing Wei, with the removal of the Fatalis effect from her combination between the Gust dash combo, it's just not the same character as it feels to. So as we head into the game number 2 here, Jing Wei is going to basically all eyes on Welsh Beast here on the Jing Wei.
And Welsh Beast had a phenomenal game 1. I mean, his early laning phase was over-aggressive and he got punished for it, but his team fighting was great. Interested to see how he's going to do on Jing Wei. Haven't seen her for quite some time, and Mifflin immediately goes back to one of the old counters for Jing Wei. This Awilish could pull Welsh Beast out of his own persistent Gust combo.
But this time around is Jelly on the Sylvanas instead of the Terra, taking that away from Mr. Turtle as he opted to go for the Cabrakan support, whereas it was Jelly on the Terra and it was Dwarfs on that Cabrakan. So the dual lane pressure favored out Obey Alliance in game number 1, but in number 2 here with Mr. Turtle on this Cabrakan, it should be relatively even still.
Mr. Turtle has had just time and time again, great performances on this Cabrakan in support. Love that they gave Cabrakan over to Mr. Turtle. And Jelly, I mean, he's been pulling people on land with Sylvanas since console first came to Smite first came to console. I've gotten pulled by this man at land more times than I can count, and he's gonna add some more names to that kill total and pull total this time around, I'm sure. Obey gonna get the better end of that clear, as you mentioned, but instead of going for the red little ones, instead they're gonna try and take the fight. Doesn't really come out on top in their favor, but once Jelly hits level 2, he could go for those wisps and get that heal.
They want the pressure instead of going for the buffs. They want to make sure they don't miss out on any sort of advantage. If they can hit level 2 here off the wave, they're going to be able to have the sustain, pull out Mr. Turtle to stop him from tremoring, and then maybe even find the kill.
He's in a lot of trouble. There's the jump in from Air Cougar. Needs a couple more basics. The patience, the ricochet, but the meditation bait was good. Mr. Turtle looks likely to survive, but now it's Welsh Beast who's in danger. But Mifflin finds someone else who's in even more danger. The most danger goes to Predator's EX. He falls for the first blood.
What was he doing around there? Not even in the lane, dying around the speed, but Shelly getting stunned out and the tremors, forced to go into the meditation. Still shaking down the ground as Welsh Beast having to agility away.
Really smart body blocks there coming out of Air Cougar to save the life of his support. Both meditations now on cooldown, which means that all of a sudden there's kill potential on this left-hand side. Risky invade here from Obey. If both Waldrum and 50 Meter Fly had recognized this was going on, maybe a rotation into this left side instead of those left side mid-harpies. But now Turtle cuts them off. Jelly is the focus. No knockup quite yet, but the stun coming around the back is good. Air Cougar, though, explodes Mr. Turtle with that ricochet. 1 for 1. Both sides get a kill.
Nice job by both teams recognizing the rotation, baiting themselves out. Maybe a little bit too ambitious, though. They could have gotten away without sacrificing anybody in the process, but still getting on the board. Great job, because Obey Alliance, they were able to pick off Predator's EX around the mid to soul lane because of all the pressure that Osiris and Nemesis was able to do. I believe they actually invaded the blue buff against Dwarfs, taking that away from them.
Dwarfs sitting at level 4 despite Predator's EX taking that first blood. It's him who's on the offensive, as you expect with Osiris up against any sort of Guardian. Dwarfs is used to this matchup, though, Tolly. He's been playing Guardians for quite some time. A lot of comfort picks here for Obey in this match.
Not worried at all. Guardians is his middle name from Dwarfs. He wants to have this kind of a matchup because when he transitions into this mid to late game, he's going to have so much more control then Predators will. He's going to mitigate a lot of this in-hand damage also in the late game against Welsh Beast with that Furious Roar.
Either way, it's Obey who's on top 2-1 at this stage. Up just slightly. 50-meter fly on this Thoth. Has some opportunities to make some plays. Wasn't bad in game one, totally, but also didn't really have that late game burst impact on this character that you'd really like to see.
Didn't have the same impact on the top the first game, but second game needs to figure out a way to coordinate with the Nemesis. Going to be more difficult this time around, especially considering the fact that they don't have the Sylvanas necessarily for that easy setup.
Air Cougar, level 6 on top of Welsh Beast, who's only level 5. Both these hunters have the red buff, and Cougs has really played on fire so far, totally. We talked a lot about his ROM in game 1, starting off well here in game 2 as well with a kill already under his belt. Obey is a really strong team, obvious by the fact that they won Worlds last year. But when Cougs can play lights out, makes them near impossible to beat. Welsh Beast taking the aggressive route, but dashes into his own knock-up airstrikes to get back in position to try and follow up. But Mr. Turtle's only level 4. Cougar's going to be able to get out of there scot-free.
Can't get in range of any damage with Mr. Turtle. He took the high route around, trying to make sure to cut off the option under the tower, but having the safety net under the Gold Fury, we see Air Cougar still escaping into safety despite not even having boots at that time.
And he didn't have to use his purification beads. Welsh Beast, I like the idea to play aggressive, and just didn't end up working out. Air Cougar trades his ultimate for that of Welsh Beast. He's going to be able to take that fight in lane as necessary. Jingwei still very safe without that ultimate, though, totally. I think a lot of people really forget about just how safe this character is in lane. Airstrike covers a huge amount of distance, but just that persistent gust of agility combination is enough to get you out of almost every dangerous situation.
Having two options for the distance gap closer or the safety net, but it was actually Air Cougar that used the ultimate just to close the wave and put Welsh Beast in a spot where he has to decide if he's going to go aggressively and avoid the damage from the Suns, or if he's just going to retreat, and that's going to allow Air Cougar to go back into safety, which is why there was so much time for him to make that conscious decision to escape under gold.
Stun onto Mr. Turtle, knocked up in the lightning storm. That chain lightning doing a lot of damage. Detonate, gonna secure it. Delta Marine from all the way in the Gold Fury camp finds the kill onto Mr. Turtle. 2 early deaths onto the support Kabrakan, and this opens up the window for the Gold Fury. No contest from Optimus Gang. Obey looking strong, up 2,000 gold early on.
5.5 minutes, almost 6 here from Obey Alliance as they take the first Gold Fury. They're doing a great job compared to the last time, because at this point, it was very even game, but Obey Alliance, they're not going to slow things down. They're going to fire on all cylinders.
This draft is similarly aggressive in a lot of areas, but in others, it's actually a bit more aggressive. I'm looking particularly at Mifflin on this Awilish, Jelly on the Sylvanas. There's a lot of early game pressure available to Obey this time around, and while they had some in game 1, yes, this time around it's working out a little bit better for them.
The only passive god that they have is going to be the Xing Qian for Dwarves, and that's not a bad idea here, trying to have that kind of control Guardian transition into team fights around the 12 to 15 minute mark, as long as the rest of your team establishes themselves that very crucial early lead.
Is Mifflin far ahead enough right now, though, on this Awilish? I mean, yeah, he got that early first blood. He's a level up on Waldrum right now. But Nemesis is so effective in the late game, whereas Awilish really isn't. Is this enough of a lead right now?
I believe it is, as we just see Mifflin hitting level 9. Having this kind of a deficit for Waldrum makes him want to go maybe into becoming an ult bot, trying to get the cooldown reductions and synergize very effectively with 50-meter fly. But if you're going to do that and try to aggress that consistently, you're going to have to rely on Mr. Turtle on the Kabrakan and Predators on the Osiris to be that buffer, because Waldrum won't be able to do it for you.
Not yet, at least. Only level 8. Last time he went for the Stone Cutting Sword, second item. A little bit more auto attack oriented, a ton of power, as well as some movement speed. Could go for cooldown this time, like you mentioned. Welsh Beast going to make use of that agility, able to knock out, dash out of that knockup from Air Cougar.
One of the scariest areas to be is behind the Gold Fury whenever you're boxing against a Hu Yi. Those ricochet bounce potentials are just so detrimental, you just don't necessarily know.
The aggressiveness again from Cougar. This time he gets the airstrike, but the rotation is on its way. Welsh Beast uses the deep beads and the dash to get out of the Suns. Waldrum on the way. Cougar trying to get out of danger, use the purification beads to get rid of the slow from the Divine Judgment, and Dive Bomb comes up just in time to save his life. Waldrum and Optimus Gang get nothing for the rotation.
Not able to find the knockup is Mifflin, but a great counter rotation because you never know just how aggressive Optimus Gang were willing to commit to dive under that tier 1 tower. Welsh Beast having to use both of his defensive cooldowns between the ultimate and the beads, and with a counter rotation, Air Cougar's now in the same boat.
Both beads used, both ultimates used in that little engagement. Who does that favor now in this lane, Tolly?
I think Welsh Beast is going to get the better end of it. He is a level behind. He's trying to get that Ichabod power spike for the attack speed, as well as maxing out the persistent gust, as well as the agility combination to make sure that's going to be on a shorter cooldown to get off more defensive and offensive plays.
Could also choose to level up the explosive bolts, though, to get some extra crit chance. Jelly can't quite find the pull as Waldrum dashes out, but now he's locked in the cage. Final Judgment hits him, but the meditation is good. The damage from Mifflin is better. Waldrum falls down for the first time this game. There's the Feather Step, and Mr. Turtle gets cleaned up by Delta Marine. 2 dead already. Knock up onto Welsh Beast. No beads, nowhere to go. Killing spree for Mifflin. Gets his hand on all 3 of those kills. 2 go his way, and Optimus Gang fall down. 6 kills now for Obey.
Mifflin is looking like he's on fire right now after that kind of a performance. Going for even more, trying to find 50-meter fly. Able to successfully steal away the purple and the red buff, giving his team the stuff after the stuff.
What a great bait, though, by Jelly on that Sylvanas. Gets locked in from Mr. Turtle, but the heal, the knock-up, that meditation coming up huge, that extra health that he has from his build already, going for the Mark of the Vanguard, and what's certainly what could be a shield of regrowth potentially here. Maybe that's what he's building into, I think.
Well, we're about to find out. What if it's going to be the Mail of Renewal? That would be quite a spicy little build.
I don't know about that, Tolly. We haven't seen a Mail of Renewal in a long time.
I mean, more than likely, he will eventually start working on his auras.
Sure.
You know, he's going to work on the Thieves. He's going to work on the Sovereignty, also on the Hardware Amulet, but it's not going to be that impactful quite yet, as Optimus Gang is still behind, so they're not going to be doing too much damage anyway, so he has a lot of flexibility in his build.
Thebes very likely as well for the support. But Shield of Regrowth, I mean, he's so far ahead at this stage, 2 levels up on Mr. Turtle, giving him some extra health, cooldown, survivability. Wouldn't be the worst idea, at least right now. Air Cougar continues to play aggressive on this left-hand side. All of the action has been in the duo lane this time for both Optimus Gang and Obey, as Cougs drops the sun once more to try and force Welsh Beast out of lane. And that's a good thing for Obey because, as you mentioned, it's kept Predators away from these team fights. They're allowing Dewars to get some much-needed farm, and Predators has been unable to make an impact on the early game Osiris.
The amount of pressure that's happening in the dual lane has caused 3 separate occasions. Predators, though, trying to survive this gank. Nice little Lord of the Afterlife, preventing getting pulled by Dwarves, but the aggression from Cougar has done 3 things thus far. It's denied the gold and experience from Welsh Beast as the minions enter the tower so much, as well as applying the pressure in the dual lane to allow this action in the solo.
Predators is in trouble. There's the knockup, but Mifflin gets the wrong target, but finds the knockup himself. Doesn't need the help of Dewars. Waldrum can only watch as Predators falls. Nice retribution shield directly into the ultimate, but Dewars still pounding on the jungler. Mifflin picks up both as Dewars lets Waldrum know exactly what he thinks about that play.
And during the whole time, Obey Alliance was pulling the goal here. He got it to about half health before 50-meter fly and Mr. Turtle made their presence known. We're seeing Mifflin on a huge killing spree, 5-0-2, level 14. Waldrum couldn't even use that shield to his advantage.
I was asking you earlier if you thought that lead for Mifflin was big enough. Even though you said yes at that time, you ended up being right anyways, but it's certainly big enough now. 4 levels, 5-0-2, as you mentioned, for the jungler. Top of the player damage charts as well. A Willish, one of those picks that is prioritized by certain players, and it seems that most of the console junglers really, really love this assassin.
Very aggressive is Mifflin in his style. You know, he was aggressive on the Susan of the last game, and even playing more so on the Willish as he's opted for a blink.
Welsh Beast pulled back in. Jelly sets up Delta Marine for the kill. That airstrike doesn't get Welsh Beast out of danger for long. Welsh Beast just found out exactly what most console LAN players have been dealing with for over a year.
Jelly's like a spider that snatches the fly out of the sky, saying, no, you don't, get back in here, just like that. 5-on-4 advantage. Obey, go for the gold.
Ooh, nice attempt there by 50-meter fly. Almost stole that away. You can see Mifflin laughing, saying that was That was pretty close there, but Obey still secure the Gold Fury despite the ultimate use from 50-meter fly. 9-1 now. Obey just continues to push this lead.
Dwarfs made his rotation in the mid lane. Air Cougar zoning out too between tier 1 and tier 2. And Obey Alliance, just like that, created enough space to get this tier 1 tower for free.
500 more gold, and now they turn and look what is likely to be the Portal Demon. Can Optimus Gang even try and contest it this far ahead? Look at how many level 11s Optimus Gang have. Mid, jungle, and hunter without second relics. Portal Demon falling low and Obey secure it.
That's so unfortunate. 7 relics versus 5 predators caught in an awkward position, trying to jump away from the Suns, but Dwarfs pulls it back in.
Mifflin defines the feather step in, the kill as well. 6 for the jungler. Dwarfs finds a knock up onto Waldrum. Double kill for Mifflin, who crushes him down with Suku. Blink forward. PB and Jelly grabs that one. 3 dead now for Optimus Gang as Delta Marine continues the charge into the enemy jungle.
Finding 3 stacks onto Welsh Beast in the sky yet again, trying to dive the backline, 50-meter fly, finding the Zeus player, knocked up into the graveyard. Welsh Beast is going to be the 4th victim for Optimus Gang.
4 dead, only Delta Marine has to watch from the death screen as the rest of Obey steal away the back camps, well, at least the 2 little parts of the back camps, as Mifflin farms off that right-hand side. Another fight goes the way of the defending world champs, who seem to be getting their footing here in Game 2. Totally.
This was all warm-up, the online phase for Obey Alliance. You know, it doesn't matter if they didn't get the top seeding or if, like, they outperformed every other team. Their goal was just to be ready for this moment. Day number 1, heading into the match against this European squad, stood no chance against the veterans.
But I think that they deserve a lot of credit, though, Totally, because Game 1, Optimus Gang really put on a show, gave Obey a run for their money, probably surprised a lot of the fans at home and probably even some of the pros watching here in our esports arena. Game 2 has been a little bit closer to what we expected at the beginning of the set. Pressure from Obey, a good objective control, and just really taking these team fights hand over fist.
Level 14, Dwarfs on this Guardian has now started to make these rotations, even opted for a very cheeky little build here, going for a very offensive option, but going very offensively is Air Cougar, but that's not something uncommon that we've seen so far this game.
Jumping in 2v1, and Optimus Gang is turning to run. Jelly has showed up, try and give some support, pull that time off the mark, but the route is not. Forces the airstrike coming out of Welsh Beast. Mr. Turtle threw out the stun to try and save the life of his hunter. Does so successfully, but another grouping coming from Obey.
Something I wanted to touch on, though, the Hourglass from Dwarfs after the Breastplate of Valor. I like this idea because of how spam-oriented Xing Qian is. You're basically, as long as you're hitting people or minions, you're going to be able to get the HP 5. But if you're losing mana, you have to get it back in the form of the MP5 regen from not only Breastplate of Valor, but also that Hourglass.
Predators is trying to box Mifflin, and he's 3 levels down. I know you're used to the solo lane, Predators, but you better get used to this. Dwarfs comes in and steals the kill away from Mifflin, and the left side tear one have already gone. Welsh Beast pulled back in once more. The heat-seeking arm out of Jelly hits home once more. Again, Welsh Beast ends up with the death because of it. Tier 2 tower now gone, and Obey don't look like they're done quite yet.
Not at all. Mifflin, with his 8th kill of the game, has over 50% of his team's kills, only missing out on 2 of the kills in total. And Obey Alliance, they're looking to siege down this left side Phoenix.
Have a couple towers still up here, totally in the mid and right-hand side, but Phoenix rather, is the call. Cougar level 16. Good amount of penetration online with that Aussie. Allows him to shred through that Phoenix. Dwarfs stunned out by Mr. Turtle, but just not enough damage. Welsh Beast comes flying in and goes flying right back to the base. Dies as soon as he got there. Again, just sit down, Welsh Beast. You gotta wad a little bit more.
Just not in the right place at the right time. That Phoenix was gone already. There was no point for him to be there, sticking his head where it was unnecessary. Just like that, Optimus Gang yet again not able to defend another objective.
16-2. Obey Alliance showing everyone that they are still here to play this weekend. I think many might have thought, oh, maybe Obey is a little weak this weekend after Game 1. No, my friends, they're still here, looking like the defending world champions that they are. 14,000 gold in the lead. We're only at 17.5 minutes.
No, this is looking like a very tall mountain. And then once you're done climbing that mountain, you have a second mountain waiting for you to climb.
That's what I was about to say. It's like Optimus Gang have to climb K2, then they get to the top, They're one of the select few that have done it. And then Everest is right on top of that. It's like, really? We got to do this again? That's really what Optimus Gang have to do. They've got every tower still standing at almost full health to knock down. They've got, what, 5–10% off that tower on the right-hand side? That's really about it. They would need to win a lot of team fights in a row in order to get back into this one.
Everybody from Obey Alliance is definitely calling Dwurst a feeder, considering just how poked that tower is on the right-hand side. That's what I'm going to say.
Well, but it's Delta Marine and Jelly who have died this game. They're the feeders.
No, no, no. It's about the tower poke.
Oh, right, because you win lane by getting your tower first.
Exactly.
I forgot about that. Welsh Beast knocked up and has to use a Purification Beast, and immediately Jelly is looking for him with the pull. Welsh Beast knows that he's in trouble as soon as Jelly shows up. Predator is the one in trouble. Force uses Thorns, but I don't know. That might be the play. Just feed the enemy team enough to make sure that they're doing more damage to themselves with the Thorns.
Well, that means everybody on your team has to get Thorns and hide enemy in lines.
That could work. Then they just crit themselves to death right away. That's the whole game plan. The tactical feed here once more. Portal Demon down in favor of Obey. Another objective goes their way. And Dwurst jumps around, waiting for the rest of his team to come back through that portal and begin the assault on this Fire Giant.
Air Cougar marking his target. Dwurst jumping on in, double dashing his wall jump, but forced to the beast to prevent the knockup. But Dwurst is not done yet. Finding two, but Mr. Turtle did a good job zoning, at least for now.
Suns come down from Cougar, tightened under attack bomb from the left. Welsh Beast trying to run distraction, basically, against Jelly and Dwurst is doing a good job. Now Dwurst the only one chasing him as the rest of Obey handling business on the right-hand side.
Trying to get away from the scary monster. Welsh Beast recognizes he's dead, presses the back key. Predators trying to defend the tier 2 as best as he can. Delta Marine with a chain lightning finds the stacks, finds the kill. Jelly even finding the Osiris solo laner.
Waldrum the only one left to defend his Titan on the left-hand side. Dwurst has spent his time pushing up the minion wave in middle. Right side tier 2 falls down. Another 1,500 gold for Obey, who decide they've had enough to push with that right-hand side. No Phoenix necessary. Instead, back, heal up, spend the gold, and come tearing through that portal. Oh no, the portal's down. They got to walk all the way to the Fire Giant.
Well, you know, you can't necessarily take the Lamborghini to the Fire Giant. You might as well take the bus. Either way, Obey Alliance, despite having about a 17,000 gold lead, they want to get the Fire Giant buff because at 56,000 collective gold for your team, you don't have that 6th item slot complete, so you're not doing your full maximum damage potential towards that Titan. You can't really close it out in safety unless you obviously get a deicide, and the fact that they're not all level 20 on the side of Obey Alliance, they still want to be very safe here as they want to ensure their ticket into the semifinals for tomorrow.
They're handing the ticket over to the conductor to punch it right now. This is the exchange. They just have to make sure they don't fumble the handoff, basically. Phoenix has respawned on that left-hand side. Right side Phoenix exposed. The middle one is the only one that's protected for the time being. But in just a moment, that will no longer be the case. Another 1,500 gold, sure to go the way of Obey momentarily. Air Cougar's just been playing in the face of the enemy team the entire game. Just aggressive all the way through. Really impressive play out of him today.
You think it's a competition for the player damage?
Oh, it definitely is. Knowing those guys, without a doubt in my mind. Middle Phoenix falls very quickly to the hand of Obey. Suns come down from Cougar, but not enough damage to find a kill quite yet.
Trying to find the last Phoenix. Let's listen to Obey Alliance as they close out the second game.
Oh my god, it's like 80% health. Huh? Yeah. Ooh, I don't think we're killing Titan. I almost died.
Obey's not sure if they're killing the Titan, but they're certainly killing the opposition. 3 dead now for Optimus Gang. And after some healing, now they look towards the Titan. Delta Marine throws out the chain lightning as Dwurst walks right in there. Mifflin in some trouble, and he's going to get taken out by 50-meter fly. Again, the Titan reset once more by Obey.
Fire minions are here though. Air Cougar used to bees, and just like that, again, respawning back into the graveyard. Welsh Beast taking a spill. Mr. Turtle getting targeted by Dwurst. And like I mentioned before, Obey Alliance, they're trying to find the Titan, but they're doing a good job. Optimus just holding on a little bit longer.
50-meter fly trying his best, but the Titan is far too low. That's it, and that's all.